Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Favorite Live Album by Year. As we are winding up September, we are going through 30 years, 30 days of September, 30 years of live albums, and 30 runner-up picks. So today we have arrived at 1989. Another pretty decent year for live albums. Again, not a lot of them, but some pretty notable ones. Right before I decided to hit the record button, I thought I had my two picks set in stone. My favorite was, my runner-up was a little on the dicey side. I wasn't quite sure, and I actually switched it at the last minute. Because I think as much as I liked my original runner-up pick, and I do really like it a lot, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give props to another one, which I think, if you had asked me this 10 years ago, I wouldn't have even blinked, but I think I've warmed up to this live album much more in recent years. But before we get to that, let's look at our winner here. So, recorded August 21st, 1988 at the Baked Potato in Studio City, Los Angeles, produced by Mike Varney, Frank Gambale live. This is red hot, folks. Frank Gambale, of course, Australian guitarist extraordinaire, fusion guitar player, plays some rock too. His claim to fame was in the Chick Corea Electric Band, and as well as a boatload of solo albums, as well as he's appeared all sorts of other places, done other projects with other bassists, drummers, and guitar players and things like that. So very prolific guitarist since he debuted in the mid-'80s with the Electric Band. But this is an amazing, amazing live album. So it's got a great lineup here too. So we got Frank on guitars, Kiyakagi on keyboards, you got Joe Heredia on drums, Steve Krasiznik on bass, and Steve Tavaglione on saxophone. If you had followed any of his solo albums up to this point, I believe he had two before this one. This is just kind of like a best of his two solo records, but with all the songs completely stretched out. I mean, I think, what does it say here? It says, I remember on the original album where I had the cassette originally, it said something like "Play it loud." This is, it had some little tagline. I forget exactly what it said. Anyway, doesn't really matter. But all long tracks, lots of soloing, red hot playing, just great. You've got Credit Reference Blues kicks things off, 13 minutes long. Fee Fi Fo Funk, which is terrific. You got Spending Sunday with You, A Touch of Brazil, Spike Song, which is just absolutely gorgeous. Love the melodies there. And The Natives Are Restless, which is 10 minutes long. So, and Touch of Brazil is 16 minutes long. So really lengthy tracks, lots of blazing guitar solos from Frank. He's a master of the sweet picking, but he can also do the real gentle, lush, romantic, more jazzy type stuff as well. So he's a shredder, but he's also can do the really delicate melodic stuff, and just some really great stuff on here. And the playing, like I said, is absolutely amazing. Lots of jamming, lots of shredding, but some tasty melodies too. One of my favorite fusion live albums from the 80s, as we close up the 80s, right? So we move on to 1990 tomorrow. But yeah, that's my favorite, without a doubt. That was kind of like a no-brainer. So as far as the runner-up, here's where I had this. So I was originally going to go one way, and I'll tell you what the other one is in a minute. I'll get to it. But I decided to give some love to my favorite Canadian band, who released this live album January 9th, 1989, recorded throughout 86 and 88, released on the Anthem label. Rush, A Show of Hands. Like I said, if we had done this exercise like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have even considered this, because I was pretty down on this album, this live album, for many, many years, because it just kind of like, it signifies a time in the history of Rush that I was down on for many, many years. I've since kind of softened my stance on those mid to late 80s albums, and I've also grown to really enjoy this live album. I think it is really, really good. It just really is a perfect historical reference of where Rush were at the close of the 80s. And again, as we've seen, most Rush live albums tend to signal a kind of end of an era, let's move into another, right? And this is no different, because the 90s saw Rush moving into different musical areas once again. So this is kind of like a best of live of the 80s and a few old things, right? So we've got Big Money's on here, Subdivisions, Marathon, Turn the Page, Manhattan Project, Mission, okay, all from those 80s albums, whether you love them or you don't love them, right? You got Distant Early Warning, one of my favorite tracks from Grace Under Pressure. You got Mystic Rhythms, Witch Hunt, right? Witch Hunt from, of course, Moving Pictures. You got The Rhythm Method, which is a great drum solo from Mr. Neil Peart. Force 10, Time Stands Still, Red Sector A, and Closer to the Heart. So ironically, the only 70s track is Closer to the Heart on here. And then the only other older track is Witch Hunt from Moving Pictures. So everything is from Signals all the way through the end of the decade. So basically Signals, Grace Under Pressure, and Power Windows, and Hold Your Fire. I mean, that's basically what we've got here. So, kind of like I said, a greatest hits live of those particular albums. And even though this is not the big, guitar heavy, just super proggy and adventurous Rush of the 70s or the very, very early 80s, this is still very much a prog live album, and the playing is very meticulous, lots of layers and textures, and like I said, I have grown to really appreciate this over in more recent times, whereas I would have just discounted this without a question, like a decade or so ago. So yeah, Show of Hands is my runner-up. I will tell you which one almost made it, because I dig this a lot too. Broadway the Hard Way from Frank Zappa. This was going into this morning. This was going to be my pick, but I just decided to change my mind at the last minute. But this is still quite good. Again, late '80s Zappa. Got the super band here. Lots of humor, but still some spectacular playing. Some really inspired musical arrangements on here, and come on, it's got Dickie's Such an Asshole, right? I mean, so anyway, there you have it, guys. Frank Gambale live. Rush, A Show of Hands, winner, right? Winner, runner-up. So I'm always like looking at myself and thinking, and I get the things mixed up there. With an honorable mention to Mr. Zappa for Broadway the Hard Way. So in the comments below, please list your favorite live album from 1989 and your favorite runner-up. We move into 1990 tomorrow, as we look to finish the 90s and finish September before we move into spooky sounds, spooky albums for 31 days of Halloween, 31 days in October. Each day I'll be taking a look at a specific album that kind of fits the narrative for the Halloween season here in the old US of A. Maybe we got some ghoulish lyrics on some songs on that album, or maybe the album cover is just really, really spooky, or maybe the tone of the music is just really, really creepy. Yeah, so like I said, it could be a heavy metal album, hard rock album, prog album, folky album, electronic album, whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as it kind of fits the narrative. It will be up for consideration, and as you can probably imagine, I have lots of albums that fit this narrative. So I've already started putting my list together, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty more that pop up in the coming weeks. So stay tuned each and every day during October for some spooky sounds. So spooky albums for Halloween. That is the theme, and we got other stuff for November I'm working on too. So lots happening. So what do we got coming up on the channel? So today, What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility Day. You should get a couple of new album reviews from me today, as well as tomorrow we've got the Monsters Den, Chris Sallow, Rich Catino, and myself, the trio of doom, back together once again. We will be talking about our favorite made-for-TV horror films. The 70s and 80s had a whole bunch of them, so we'll each be talking about our favorite ones for that. Friday morning at the Funhouse on Friday with Martin Popoff, we've got part 2 of our look at some of those hired guns. Friday morning's episode, Martin will be looking at some of those great bass players that kind of appeared here, there, and everywhere, and I will be doing the vocalists. So that's coming up. And then on Sunday, we've got album homework assignment with Rich Catino and Jamie Laszlo. They've each given each other their assignments. They're ready to talk about them, so stay tuned for that. And lots more also coming up. We've got Stephen Reed and Simon Bray, the UK Connection. Once again, they're going to be reviewing the catalog or ranking the catalog of power metal veterans Dream Evil. So that is coming up tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and a whole lot more here on the channel. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Please click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content. If you want to make a channel donation, we've got the link to our Ko-Fi page below, as well as the link to the Sea of Tranquility merch site, which has all sorts of cool shirts and things for sale, all sorts of different designs, metal themed designs, Prague themed designs, specific designs for all of our shows like the Hudson Valley Squares, in the Prague seat, and all sorts of things. So check it out if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you real soon here on the YouTube channel, which of course is on the air all the damn time. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye-bye.